I don't have an editor that will automatically switch tracks, so I'll have to go back, watch and record your track, and then watch and record my track to separate them, and then edit them together and go to that spot where you're like, "Ugh," and edit it out. So it's a lot of work for. I'll just leave the
fuck that. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
dude. So is that just like the state of audio and video production? Or is there certain softwares that are pretty fucking expensive that can make this shit pretty easy?
I'm pretty sure that there's definitely like a software that's expensive that you could buy and it would kind of do a lot of stuff for you. But I'm also pretty sure that there are people out there that are much smarter than me that could just use a free program or Windows Movie Maker and split it up without all the hassle that I go through.
Okay.
I've spent most of my time in terms of learning about media stuff, focusing on camera work, computer editing, lighting, and then like camera angles, like where your cinematography basically.
Okay.
And I just shit. I just lost my spot.
That area in your head that just went blank.
Yeah, audio production was never my gift. Other than being able to cut up music, I can. If I have a 2-minute video and there's a 5-minute song, I can cut that song up to make it a 2-minute song, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's the only thing I can do with audio production.
That's pretty good, though. I mean, in all relativity, I mean, audio production, it's kind of like the icing on the cake from that standpoint, but at the same time, it could make a production.
Right. Well, and that's what always made me laugh was music at the right times, and then the camera angle for me was always like the cream of the crop. That's what made something great.
Right.
And then YouTubers started doing their thing, and you go online, and anywhere you go for basics for YouTubing, get a nice mic. People don't want to hear I'm on a cell phone recording myself, but I got a sweet high def camera.
Right.
They want to hear you first and then see you.
That is very true.
It's
when
weird.
I turn on YouTube, that is God.
Yeah.
If I can't fucking hear you,
yeah. Hey, welcome back to
oh
another
my
tutorial.
God,
All right,
I'm changing
next.
that shit.
I'll go with the 30-minute video over your 2-minute mumblings.
Yeah, because I'm going to pick up a quarter of that.
Yeah, seriously. I gotta grab this real quick. I forgot to eat.
So are these pretty good pretty good microphones?
They're okay. They're good compared to if you have any kind of Xbox headset or Bluetooth thing for your cell phone.
Okay.
Those are trash. These are ages better than that. But then I got this mic, the mic that I was using before. That was it's $100 and it looks like a professional mic. I don't know if it's the best you can get, but the difference between that and this is enough to where you're like, I don't want to use this all the time. I want to go back to that thing.
Right.
So, but these are so easily portable, so it's why not use these?
And I'm wondering if you run these through a mastering program, what that would do to the quality of sound as well.
See, and I don't even know what a mastering program is.
Dude, the mastering programs are insane. Because you have the production shit that layers everything that you want to do. So from a musical production standpoint, so you have your vocals, you have your keys, your strings, your percussion, all that shit. You layer it all, but then you take it from your suite and your DAW. That is basically your. So there's a couple different DAWs out there. There's like Ableton Live.
Okay.
There's like Machine has a certain one. Apple has a certain one.
Yeah.
And so you take it from that form and then you put it into a mastering suite, which is a whole different set of, software that costs like an unreal amount of money. And you take it from there and you take those layers and you put like, you really take the lows and you put them at the low, and you take your mids and put them at the mid range, and you can really separate where you want your different tones to be at.
Really?
And so if you need to take vocals, for instance, from a clarification standpoint,
like this.
Yeah, you can just, there's certain tweaks, which I haven't messed, like that's probably the least bit of my experiences in vocals, because I've never, I don't think I've even laid down vocal tracks.
Okay.
But I know that it is the same way that you would do any other track to equalize it. And that's basically what you're doing, is equalizing. You're taking these not harmonics, but just basic frequencies, and you're trying to match the highs with the lows in a balanced way through the middle, through your whole song as it's going like this.
Well, that's one thing that I've been working on, is like with these, this isn't bad, I'm hoping that it's not too quiet, and the levels say that it's not, but if I go like really loud, or if I get really close and I say something loud, it automatically like distorts. And with the other mic, you can go really loud and it won't distort. The problem though is that my range in volume in general, and how close I am to the mic, it changes a lot. Like I'll start off kind of quiet, how's it going? And then I get attacked or I almost die, and I'm like, god damn it! And I worry that it affects people listening. Like they're turning it up because I'm quiet, and then suddenly I'm loud, and they're like, "Son of a bitch!" Like, is there a program that will automatically like kind of balance that out, or
for sure?
Okay,
for sure. There's definitely post-production stuff that you can do to keep that shit equalized a little bit better.
Yeah,
but at the same time, dynamic range does have a lot to do with. You can do anything in post-production. You can.
Yeah, but
a lot of that dynamic range does have to do with that microphone you have.
Okay. So
and that is, you want that dynamic range because that's so much of your personality, in anybody's personality. The people that people really attach to are those people that go from that fucking low to high. You know,
my favorite comedians
gravitate to that shit. You know.
Yeah, for sure. But that's where I'm at right now. Is like, if I'm quiet, I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, gotta move up a little bit, because if I'm at my normal voice and I'm 2 or 3 inches too far away from the mic, people watching will comment. Like, I have 1 or 2 people that watch a little semi-consistently. They'll comment and be like, can you turn your mic up a little bit? You gotta turn that volume up. Like, dang it, it was here, not here.
No shit.
And then I watch these guys that'll like, they'll be, you know, like a foot away from the mic, and they'll get close and you can really hear like the bass, but then they're like across their room and you can still hear them well enough, and it like I love my mic because it sounds so good, but I know there are so many better mics out there.
Right. It's crazy because you notice just within like the last 8 months of listening to JRE or whatever, how he's basically always telling people to pull that shit up. Always.
Oh yeah, constantly.
And that was, he would say it occasionally back in the day, but it was only if they were really far away from it.
Well, and I didn't really notice. I noticed him saying it all the time to people, but it was what's his name? The Weinstein dude.
Yeah.
When him and his wife came on.
Yeah.
And she was like, he's like, you gotta shove it in your face. Especially for her, because a lot of those guys, they can sit back a little bit and he'll like, you gotta put it in your face, and I'm like, yeah, I can hear, it's fine. But her, it was like, holy shit, she's so quiet.
Yeah. Isn't that so weird?
It's crazy.
Like, it's so nuanced. It's just like anything else. God damn it, dude. It's like, oh yeah, I know how to play music. Like, music production isn't gonna be a big deal. No, it's a fucking big deal, dude. I'm telling you, like, I could spend 5 years, seriously, just delved into that 100%.
Yeah.
And still be like a fucking baby.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, you can tell from the get-go that it is so deep.
Yeah.
That
For sure.
And there's certain things that you can majorly improve very quickly through limited amounts of experience.
Right.
But to really get those nuances nailed,
right,
which certain people have, it's like that takes time just like anything else.
Yeah, no, and this, like, talking about YouTubers in that sense, I feel like a baby. I had one of the guys, this kid gaming to meme. He's a 12-year-old, as are all viewers on YouTube. He's like, you sound like a real, like, commentator. And I was like, holy shit, that feels really good. And then I watch a lot of my videos just to come up with titles for him. And I'm like, that was a hack joke, which I had someone there to tell me it was a hack joke at the time, so I didn't keep going with it for the next 5 minutes. And then I see other guys that I've been watching for like 5 years, and then they say something like, oh, I remember back in 2002, and I'm like, holy shit, you've been doing it for that long? And then you watch them, and they have, every single response they have is within their character, the way they respond, and it makes me feel like a child.
Yeah.
Because I'm 30, I'm doing YouTube, trying to, and I think I feel like I'm good because I've had acting experience and a touch of comedy experience, and I've had family to be around, and I've played video games my entire life, and then I'm getting pissed off because I died a death that didn't even affect me. I just go back and get my stuff again, and it's like I just feel like a child, like a giant child that's learning this thing, and it's cool because I see the guys that have been doing it forever, and I'm like, okay, don't get down on yourself too much. You suck right now, but you're gonna get better at that specific thing, and that's not the only thing you're gonna do. I have lots of this right here is a complete change of pace for my channel, and if it makes it into one of the days of this year, hopefully, then it'll be a big change.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever put out a video that's longer than an hour.
Okay.
So, but we should smoke a little bit, and
definitely
want to tell my very small audience that if you're gonna smoke, be responsible, and also it's weed, so whatever. We're smoking blues.
So you really can't smoke too much of it.
You really can't smoke it. You want to? It's very dangerous, kids. Just be an adult before you smoke it, all right? Act like an adult before you smoke it. Gorilla Glue. We're smoking Gorilla Glue and 5PS. Is that the name of this?
Damn. That sounds intense.
Yeah. They had ChemDog that was baller.
I just want to get back to this last thing that we were talking about. I got a bowl loaded right there. For you feeling like a baby doing this at 30, whatever else, god damn it, dude. It's like, man, feeling like a baby at 30 is probably pretty good compared to feeling like you didn't fucking try at 65, right?
Yeah. I do look at that. I see a lot of guys. Joe Rogan, Dan Harmon. These are names that people I don't know, but they're people that I've followed for a long time and that I respect. And they're like Joe. I can't compare myself to him. He was 19 when he started, and he started before that with fighting.
Yeah, and he's a real weirdo because like you want so bad to relate to him because he's the freak party, man.
Right.
And we're all the freak party.
Right.
But he's the different freak party.
Yeah, I'm not going hunting for my meat for a year.
Yeah. He's on another level.
Yeah. And I don't know. I look at The Rock, he is not a human being. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is not a human being. He's too big to be human. We have to define a new class for people like him. Because it's not like he's a bodybuilder either. He's huge, and he's muscular, and he keeps getting more muscular, but he's not like gross.
Right.
He's not human. Joe Rogan is
like if Tony Robbins could fuck you up really bad. Which Tony Robbins could probably fuck us up both pretty bad. Because that dude looks pretty fucking big.
Joe Rogan, I see Joe Rogan as the human version of The Rock, where he works out all the time, he does comedy all the time. I can't imagine there's a lot of time where Joe's just sitting around. I imagine he's doing stuff most of the time.
Right.
And then on top of that, he's working to make his mind clear and keep his body clear. So again, I imagine he's on another level. Like his brain, just because of the way he's treating his body and the world around him, his brain's on another level.
All right.
And so I can't compare myself to that at all. But when I look at him and other people and realize that, yeah, he was trying hard for a long time, and a lot of people were, and I didn't focus on one thing for the whole time, but they all started kind of making it flew out, I think. They all started making a name for themselves at about 30, or around then, and again, I'm not trying to be famous. I'd rather not be famous. I want to do something other than sit around in construction. But yeah, there's a lot of times where I'm sure if anybody that's 30 that's listening to this that hasn't made a name for them, that doesn't have a career, it's very easy to get down on yourself for being 30 and not having a career. Very easy. But it's also easy to accept that and then just not have a career for the rest of your life when you're only 30. If you drink, smoke, and do smack for the rest of your life, there's a solid chance you're going to live to 80. So that's 50 years that you have to do something with your life.
But let me ask you this. I mean, there's a drastic difference, man, because you're talking about a career, but you could get a career at any moment you wanted.
Right. I guess I mean like a career.
But we don't want that career.
Right.
Correct.
I can't be a manager for a fast food restaurant, even if I'm making $40K a year, which isn't a lot, but it's still enough to make it. It's a decent living if you're living by yourself.
Right.
But I can't do that. I can't. I'm doing construction right now, and I enjoy it right now because it's summer, and then I'm gonna hate it during the winter, and then but it's something that I've done for long enough to where I could probably move to LA, Texas, Florida, somewhere warm where they need contractors and get a job. I know enough to do that.
Right.
But good God, I would shoot myself by 35. I can't do that. That's too much.
Right.
And to say that, I don't mean that I won't do it, because I do need to live. I need to survive. But but at this point, having a job that gives me a certain amount of freedom, in that, like, if they need something, like if there's a time constraint, I'm gonna have to be there to help them out. But if tomorrow comes around and it's raining, I'm not gonna go to work because I'm done working in the rain. Again, if they need me, I'll be there in the rain, sucking it up. But I would rather sit at home and try and write part of a book than stand out there, get half the work done that I could have been getting done, and be pissed off all day.
Yeah.
Because I did that for 10 years. I don't know if I deserve to not do it. I probably don't. I probably deserve to be out there. But I'm not. I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, deserve to not do it. I mean, I think you just deserve to give yourself a chance of, like, there's people out there that have done it. You know, there's people out there that have gone from, like, jobs that they don't want to fucking do, just like everybody, like, maybe not everybody else, but I mean, there's plenty of people out there that like their jobs, but there's certain people out there that just, like, there's a certain type of job
right
that works for them.
Well,
and
look at how many people.
If you have a chance of pursuing that, then you need to pursue that.
Yeah, and this is for people that are in my situation, and even if you're younger, that has the desire to do something like comedy or acting or modeling or being an announcer on a talk show. There are so many avenues to do that. You can do it. You can do it. It's not impossible. It's oversaturated, but if you go for it, you can do it. The thing that I think should be made clear is look at how many people you admire that are in the field that you're wanting to go to. So I look at comedians, improv artists and comedians, and I look at a lot of them and I'm like, man, I would love to be on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Then you look at the pasts of the people that are on Whose Line Is It Anyway, and you see how many of them grew up in Southern California with rich parents. And you have to realize that they had a ton of time, that they didn't have to work, they didn't have to worry about money, they could go out Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, every single night, getting into the crowd, getting out to the people, getting their name out there, practicing their craft. I don't have that luxury. I have to work. I have to make money to survive, to eat, and then I have to make time to go out, practice my craft.
Right.
And so I don't want. If you have a full-time job and you're trying to make it as a comedian, don't move to LA. Don't move to LA. Just go to the open mic night that's near your place, that's nearest to your place, and practice your craft. Get really good at it. Do like 100 shows. Start to feel your energy and start to feel the energy of the crowd. And then go somewhere that's already willing to give you a foot in the door. You don't have to get an hour. You don't have to get a special. Go somewhere that's willing to let you work the door and do a set. You know, they'll give you $20 or a couple free drinks or something like that.
Right.
But to just decide that the only way to be a comedian is to move to LA and do what your favorite comedian did is ridiculous. You have to do what you do to become a comedian.
Right.
So
there's so many different avenues to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you have to just do what's right for you. And honestly, I think for me personally, in doing what I want to do, that is all comes down to what's available. Like what is most convenient to me. Because what's most convenient is the thing I'm going to do most. That's just the person I am.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if, there's a better gym 30 minutes away from where I'm at. If there's a gym 5 minutes away from where I'm at, that's the one I want to be at because that's the one that's going to make me available to do what I want to do.
Right, for sure. But and this is just me, like, I'm doing the easiest thing. Like, anybody that wants to be a comedian, start a YouTube channel. It's the easiest thing to do, and it's not going to screw up your career.
Like, hey, we're talking, you're looking for a platform here?
A free platform? And doing video games. Do you have a computer? Do you play any sort? There are online games you can play with laptops. Download OBS for free.
Here's the thing, for some comedians, it's like, you don't even need, gaming doesn't have to be anything a part of it. You just get to make fun of the world as a comedian, and there's plenty of shit to make fun of.
Eugene Merman started his career by making movies, putting them on VHS tapes, and giving them out from the back of his car. That's how he started his career.
I don't even know who that is.
One of the main characters on Bob's Burgers. He's the son. I want peanut butter.
No shit.
Yeah. He's so funny. But yeah, he decided that he wasn't doing well as a comedian. He had these tapes and he wanted people to see him, so he just handed them out to people. Like, dude, he was YouTube before YouTube was YouTube.
When was this?
This was definitely before YouTube, but I want to say it was like 1997 or something like that.
So when VHSs were still...
Yeah, it wasn't like...
it wasn't like he was handing out VHSs when nobody had VHS players.
I'm watching Netflix on my phone and he's trying to hand me a tape. Like, what
the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
No.
doesn't fit my dashboard.
You frame it and put it on your wall. It's vintage.
Dip it in gold.
Oh. Yeah, but so I heard, and I'm switching just a little bit. Yesterday, I heard you talking about your job, how you're getting sick of it.
Yeah,
you're kind of done with it.
Yeah.
What's is it just one of those things where you're just doing it over and over and over again? You're tired?
Yeah, it's just super repetitive. It's very production-esque.
Yeah.
And just I can't do that. I can't do that, man. And it's very, it's one of those jobs where you're just kind of like, you are just dependent on what your bosses like want you to do. You're kind of at his hand, It's like, if he needs you to work, then you gotta work.
Yeah.
And if you gotta do this, then you gotta do this. And I'm down with that. Like, I'm down with being a team player.
Yeah.
But I'm very much so the person where it's like, I'm a planner, dude. Like, I like to have this, then this, then this.
Yeah. So when you're done with this, you're moving on to that.
Yeah. And I'm gonna think of that ahead of time for sure.
Yeah.
And so, just to be in an industry that's just so much like, you gotta do this, then you gotta do this, it's hard.
For sure.
And, we're in direct competition with China, India,
really?
Taiwan.
Damn. Oh, yeah, because you're like factory production type stuff.
Yeah, like I'm a machinist, so there's like certain jobs I'll do that are job shop type jobs where you're doing a run of 16.
Yeah.
And it does take a lot of mental capacity to get through it. But then you'll be on like a 3-week stretch where you're just like fucking running some plastic parts that are plus or minus 20 thou, which is like, you could kick a fucking football through that.
So
and
it's
big. It's a big tolerance.
Shit.
And so it takes no brain work at all.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there running all day, just like watching the machine, making sure the tools are good. And
shit.
Dude, it's hard, man. It's like, it's hard to go to work and just sit through that.
Yeah.
I like hard things.
Yeah.
But this is not hard in that way. It's hard in a way that you just have to meditate and breathe through the day just to get through it.
It's almost like the best way to, or what they should start doing with these factories is like all you do, and then you wait. You're kind of inspecting it, making sure nothing breaks. Everything kind of goes as planned, and then maybe moving this from here to here. Like they should set it up so that in order to, instead of pulling the lever, you have to punch a code. It's Simon Says style. Make it a game, right? Make it something that activates your brain instead of just like and just dead inside because it
is soul sucking, dude. Some days it is just like your skin starts crawling because it's just like, what the fuck am I doing with my limited amount of time on this earth?
Right.
I gotta sit here through this bullshit. These motherfuckers are acting like this is some serious shit.
Right.
Where it's just like, no, dude, this is my fucking life.
This is my life. Give me my freedom.
Dude, I'm not fucking down with this shit.
Oh, man.
There's, I think I honestly knew that pretty early on, but, I went to school for this shit, so it's like, fuck, I gotta ride this out for a little bit.
Right. Well,
And, if it paid fine, if it paid good, then I'd be probably okay with it.
Yeah. Does it? It doesn't?
No.
What do you...
I make $16 an hour.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Dude, yeah. No.
I'm sorry, but if you go to school for something, I want to start out at least 21.
dude.
And then $1 raise per year.
Not to mention, like, some of the metals I'm running, like when I am running Inconel and like that is very high level machining. And
Jesus, and they're
at that point, it's just like you are fucking paranoid. It's like I hear a trash can because I have one of those like lift up trash cans with your foot, and then it like slams down.
Yeah.
Every time it slams down, dude, I swear I jump like 3 feet because that's how paranoid you are.
Jeez.
Just waiting for a tool to break, waiting for something fucking catastrophic to happen,
and just ruin this totally valuable piece of.
Oh, 100%. Some of these castings are worth, $1,500.
How can they do? How do you pay that back at $16 an hour? How do you pay that back if you damage it? And I know that they're not going to ask you.
Well, he pays it back easily because he's paying me $16 an hour to make these fucking parts.
Right. So then he's like, well, I made 200% profit by paying these kids jack shit.
I mean, in reality, to make these parts, you would normally probably be paying a $35 an hour machinist to make this shit.
I was amazed when I was back in 2009 when I was working at Eddie Bauer. I talked to my manager. She was going through the numbers, and I was like, "How much do we sell a day?" I was just curious, and she's like, it varies. Weekends, sometimes weekends will sell like 9,000. During the week, average 3,000. I was like, "That's cool. That's crazy, man." And then I asked more questions as we got down to like how they can predict what they're gonna make. They basically go to
the date of last year.
Yeah, and suddenly it like I don't know if they said it or if I just realized it, but it was like, oh, you expect to make more every year. This was in 2009 at the beginning of the recession, so it wasn't like I wasn't like, things are going to shit, what's your problem? It was like, things are fine, but why would you expect to make more every year? That's insane.
That's business.
Yeah.
That is business, and they take that to a quarterly standpoint.
The fact that businesses that
you think that's realistic?
Seriously, especially during now, I'm like, okay, there was a recession. If anything, you should have been like, well, I hope we don't lose this much. Everybody's going to lose. No, they didn't lose, which means everybody lost.
And there's certain businesses where they get certain state deductions and shit like that, where, when it comes tax season, they just buy a bunch of shit at the end of the year because they know that at the end of the year, if they want the state to give them that much money back, then they have to spend this much money.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, we gave $1,000 to kids with cancer. Like, are you kidding me? You made $17 million this year.
Yeah. And charity from a business standpoint is the most bullshit thing in America that, like, it makes me fucking sick. Honestly,
seriously,
anything I hear about charity, I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah, unless it's Unless it's like a person that gave his car to a family because they didn't have a car and they needed to get across the country. Like, that's charity.
An individual person donating for a random reason, and I'm sure there's businesses that do it for good reasons too.
Right, but there's
I would
still
say
a tax break.
There is a huge tax loophole when it comes to charity, and
it's not really charity, is it?
It's not charity.
You're like,
that
okay,
is doing you. Like, that is one-sided.
You're like, okay, government, you give them this money, but I'll make it look like I did it.
Yeah. It's not really one-sided, but...
No, and I know, even with the tax breaks, I know that there probably... I've met enough super rich people that are down to earth, realize that there are problems with our economy, and honestly, they vote to raise taxes on the filthy rich because they have enough money. Why would you tax poor people more? Why not tax poor people less, rich people more? That's the rich people that I've met, that's their take on it. And it's it's beautiful, and I'm sure that when they set to give money to charities and their companies, that they're doing it with a good heart.
Right.
But when you take the face away and it's just the building that's like, we give this much money to charity. What are you doing, man? Are you sure? Because I mean, there are a lot of fake charities out there too. That's another thing. Like, I don't want to give to the church just because I've seen so many fake freaking charities out there.
Yeah, right. And yeah, that's a very valid point. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that do it for, whatever reasons, but
right.
At the end of the day, I think you do hope that it's enough is getting to those charities, enough of that percentage just to make a difference.
And I do hope that. For me, I want to trust charities. I want to trust that there are people out there on a massive scale trying to do good things for people, but I don't. So when it comes down to it, I want to be able to help people around me whenever I can. You're a friend, a lifelong friend. You're a family member. You're someone that I've known for a year. If you come to me and you need help, I'll try and help. If I have cash, I'll try and give you cash. If you're like, I need smack, like, no, go get your own cash for smack. But if like, I don't have Christmas presents for my kids, I'm gonna try and help you get Christmas presents for your kids, because I believe if I help the people around me like that, more people will act that way. It'll spread, and we won't even need charities anymore, because we're actually going to be helping each other. I don't know. I'm a hippie.
No, I get it, man. Yeah, I get it. That's just helping other people out, helping your community out. And that is one of those things that I could be better at. Like, I could be a lot more selfless in the way that, I see others and I perceive others. I get super caught up in my own shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, sometimes my world just like overwhelms me a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
It's one of those things that you just gotta always keep in your mind that there's other people out there that are going through like just shit that you can't even comprehend.
Seriously, I just ran into a guy I used to work with, and I've been bitching to myself about living with my parents, and he rolls up on his bike and he's like, yeah, we're talking for a minute, he's like, yeah, I'm homeless. Well, guess I can't bitch about living with my mom and dad anymore.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's crazy. But
yeah, some people, man, are just in a different place than what you can even think about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get sick to my stomach when I'm down to 2 weeks before my next paycheck, and I'm like, I don't have enough money. I'm like, I don't think I have enough money for weed for the next 2 weeks. Like, I'll get stressed out about that. And he's like, I got a job interview in a couple days. I'm like, you might have a job that'll pay you in 2 weeks from a couple days from now, and you're homeless. And I would freak out. I would be running around the street screaming, I need help, because I've never done it. I don't think I'd do that, but I've never been there, and in my mind, it's too much stress, too much for me to handle.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I don't look down at homeless people. I don't see them as like, oh, I should have had a job. I look at them as like, wow, balls. Like, you're the craziest camper I've ever met. You're just like, every day with this shit.
Dude, honestly, from a little bit, like, I'm not saying all homeless people choose to be homeless, but a fair share of them do choose to be homeless. And that is straight crazy camping.
Right. Well, the straight up people that choose to be homeless, the people that I feel for are the ones that I see in the same spot every single day for like 3 months, and then when they finally move, it's like 30 feet, and they just, I get if you want to be homeless and you feel like traveling the land or stuff like that. But if you're literally camping with a sleeping bag and a tarp in a parking lot for 3 months at a time, I feel bad because I have nothing to give you. I can't imagine there's any amount of money that I would give you that would fix your situation.
No.
Or anything I could say. I don't have a place to give you. I don't have anything for you, for those people. And yet I know I'm 90% sure that all those guys have something in their brain that won't let them live normally. Kind of like I have a hard time with work. I have a hard time living normally, but I can pull it off because I can fake it. But to be in such a spot where you're willing to sit in a parking lot for 3 months, ask people for a little bit of money for weed once in a while, like that blows my mind. And I want them to have
You're not
help.
faking it at that point.
No, it's not a choice. And it might have started off with a choice, but it's not a choice at that point.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Do you get to that point without like some crazy fucking drugs or anything like that, do you think? I mean, obviously mental illness.
Ever since that JRE with the dude that used to be in the military, he looked like a super straight up dude, but apparently he went through like deep alcoholism, lost his family, and went through, because he was a demo expert and he had so many blasts go off near his head, it just rattled stuff in his brain. And the doctor he was working with was talking about how cholesterol, there's like a deprivation of cholesterol in these guys' brains, where and then other stuff. But I can see how there could be people who do hardcore drugs and get in with the wrong crowd, and then there's also mental disabilities. I have a guy on my Facebook page where every single post is basically him bitching about not having a girlfriend, and that has to be a mental thing, because he has to know that bitching about not having a girlfriend is the last thing that's ever going to get him a girlfriend. So you have to think that these guys that are out there screaming at themselves on the side of the street, drinking anything that they can, that there's something in their brain where they just don't understand that what they're doing isn't going to help them be normal. They think that they're trying as hard as they can to be normal, but they're still out there screaming at themselves on the side of the street.
Right.
So on top of that, with drugs and people that you hang out with and where you grew up, what color your skin is, all these different things that could lead you to living on the street. I think that the biggest one is trauma to the head and a lack of healthy diet. Mostly.
Yeah.
But
I think the trauma to the head is fucking huge.
Just working in construction, I mean, I had built up a lot of pent-up anger as a child that I could kind of let go because I was chill. And then I worked with my dad for 10 years, had one bad relationship, and went off the fucking rails. And I'm not blaming head trauma. There was a lot of head trauma, though. And learn from it. Diet, stop hitting your head, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The head trauma is a weird one. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because somewhat of it is like I always have been kind of the way I am.
Yeah.
So, but I do know I've hit my head like as a child hard.
Yeah.
Like fucked myself up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've always just been super lizard brained. Like
what do you mean? Just like
I love stimulating things. I love
kind of instinctual. Like this is cool. I'm gonna do this.
Yes, things that I can just like. I feel very physically in tune to.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things I excel at. Is the things that I can feel.
Yeah.
You know, with my fingers, with my feet,
okay,
whatever else. And I'm not really very good at a lot of other things than those type of things.
Yeah.
And it's just weird because, you know, nobody in my family is really that way.
Right.
You know, David and my dad are both very
logistical.
Yeah, I would say logistical, more methodical, more just binary.
Yeah, science thinkers and a little less creative.
Right, and I think I'm very much so more like theoretical and
right.
You know, most of my shit probably doesn't make sense at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I just like exploring, you know, different shit.
For sure.
And I think that's kind of melded into everything that I do. Like, my snowboarding is very creative. Even, like, my jiu-jitsu at the stage it's at right now, it's, like, it's creative.
Yeah.
Just because I never stick to one thing. Like, my brain is so much wired to, like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to try this, I want to try that.
Right.
I never want to stay in one thing.
For sure.
And it's hard to hard to live with.
You feel like you're not you're into stuff, but you're not focused on one thing. You're like into this for a little bit, then you're into this for a little bit, then you're into this for a little bit.
And it goes in cycles. I'll always go back to those same things, but it's like, you know, I don't know. You just get in these routines where you are really into something. And really, when I get into something, it's like I'm really fucking into it.
Yeah. I'm going to keep playing Minecraft for at least 100 more hours. Yeah. And then I'm going to be done with it for a good year or so.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, so this is what I've taken out of life in the same kind of similar mindset. Because I realized it early on because of magic. I loved magic so much that when I would do it and I got good at it, and then I stopped doing it, I figured I wasn't into it. And then when I came back to it, I was like, oh, so this is kind of like a cycle thing. Like, I'm not going to be into it all the time. It's only when I'm in this part of the cycle. And I still do card tricks. But the thing that I've learned about myself from that is that the way the world works, the way our society and most societies work, is they don't necessarily cater to us. Some of us, I say us because of the way we think, not because of who we are, but some of the people like us flourish because of areas that they're in. There's a lot of them in LA. There's some crazy ass scientists that are like that, and then a lot of comedians they just can't stay focused on something for too long. But what I learned from it is that the world doesn't work that way. It was frustrating to me, but it doesn't matter, because just because the world works a certain way doesn't mean I have to work that way. I am who I am. I'm not ashamed that I have a hard time working menial jobs and staying focused for 8 hours. My bad. I want something more interesting than saying, would you like fries with that for 37 years? No, thank you.
Yeah.
And props to the people that can, because I want somebody to serve me fries when I go to McDonald's, right?
No fucking shit. I don't even flip me no fucking attitude either.
Yeah. If you're happy there, if you seem happy there, you're making me happy, because I never see happy people there.
No doubt.
But, yeah, I felt very ashamed for a long time because I didn't work the way my brother did or my dad did. I thought I was a bad worker because my dad would work for 8 to 10 hours a day, and by the 6th hour I was like, okay, I'm done. Can I go home? I don't want to do this anymore. And I felt like I was a shitty person because I couldn't do what he was doing.
Right.
It just I think differently. Right. And once I learned that, I realized that I had to be responsible with that I could work 6 hours and then go home, but if I did that, I had to take advantage of it. I couldn't just go home and watch YouTube videos and masturbate until I went to bed. I had to be productive.
Right.
At least in some way.
Right.
And so Yeah. I like the way I think. I like that I don't that I don't think the way the world does. Fuck the world.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's easy. Yeah, dude, I struggle with that because I do like the way I think. But then sometimes it's just like, fuck, dude. Why can't I just fucking think the way everybody else thinks? Because shit would be so much fucking easier. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know that because I don't live those people's lives. But at the same time, I get pretty fucking stoked sometimes about the way that, like, I've taken time to, like, learn shit, and I've taken time to, like, develop hobbies that I'm really fucking into.
Yeah.
And I look at a lot of the people that I hang around with and am just around and everything else, and there's not a lot of hobbies. You know, there's not a lot of shit that other people do outside of work.
Right.
And if I didn't have the shit that I love to do outside of work, oh my God, I can't even tell you, like, where I'd be at right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Do you think that, I mean, okay, I'd like to think that no matter what, I'd have hobbies. But do you think that that's kind of a privilege thing, or not necessarily privilege? Do you think that because our moms, and, well, I don't know about your dad. My dad wasn't so much, he was a provider. My mom raised me in a lot of ways. It was, do you think they pushed us to have hobbies? Like, do you think because we had them as parents, and that's why it seems to be like when I worked at the restaurant, there were so many people that would get off work and be like, I'm going home, I'm getting drunk. And that was their life. Every single day was, I'm going home, fuck everything, I'm going home and getting drunk. And in my mind, I don't mind going home and getting drunk sometimes. Sometimes it's awesome. Watch some South Park and just fuck thinking about anything. But there's a lot of times where I go home and I want to play Factorio or Minecraft or any of these games that if I'm drunk, I just can't play because they're not fun. There's a lot of thinking and math and problem solving that you have to do, and I can do it a little stoned, but I want to do stuff. I want to. I don't know. I can't imagine living my life where all I did was work and drink.
Yeah.
Unless it was like working and then drinking. Like if somehow I could pull that off, but I don't think I can do that.
Yeah. I don't think. I don't know what you could do to pull that off. It sounds pretty amazing if you could, but
some guys do it.
Oh God.
Doug Stanhope, Dan Harmon. Those are some of my favorite alcoholic comics. And what blows my mind is Dan Harmon. Did you ever see Community?
No.
He wrote 2 of my favorite shows I've ever seen, and on top of that, he does a podcast once a week. That's a live show, and he's drunk all the time.
Really?
Yeah, there are episodes of his podcast where he'll come in and he's like, I listened to last week's podcast and I didn't remember it because I was blackout drunk the whole time. And I'm like, how are you that funny blackout drunk? What the hell, man?
Oh shit, that's good.
I can do. I'd like to challenge anybody out there to get me so stoned that I can't do something.
Okay.
Because I don't think that could happen. I'm pretty sure I could be blasted and still pull off a Sudoku or taking a walk to Fred Meyer's and talking to somebody.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not want to do that.
I can
do it. I would get so stoned where I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to see nobody right now.
And well, okay, so if it was a challenge, like physically, if I said, all right, we're gonna smoke this Joey Diaz weed, and we're gonna get so stoned that we
eat his gummy bears.
Eat a couple of his gummy bears. We're gonna start seeing shit. and then I'm going to challenge you to go outside and have a small conversation with somebody.
Okay.
Do you think you could pull that off?
I could probably, if it was short, I could probably do it.
Yeah. So like that, the thought of having a little bit of weed and then doing a bunch of stuff, writing a book, doing a podcast, doing a live show, does not intimidate me. If I had if I had a set and I was supposed to go up and do a set for people that were paying, and then you were like, you want a Joey Diaz gummy bear? I'd probably be like, no, I'll take a little hit, but I don't want to get, they're paying money for this shit.
Yeah.
Right? But there's not a lot that I can't accomplish when I'm stoned.
Yeah.
That doesn't worry me. It's just when I have some drinks, that's like, all right, I might be a little bit funnier when I'm a little bit drunk, but there's pretty much nothing else. Go talk to a stranger, sure, but first I have to find the door. I have to get down the stairs. Like, yeah, there's some obstacles there.
There's some definite logistics in that time period for sure.
But going back to what we were talking about before. Yeah, I love having hobbies. I love being into video games because I've quit smoking weed. I quit smoking cigarettes. I quit drinking for a while, and the only reason I pulled it off was because I had video games.
Right.
They're such a distraction. I could probably do heroin and quit by playing video games. I'm not going to test that theory. I'm going to see if it's
a good choice. That's a good choice. But kind of going back to what you were saying earlier about, I don't know, just about these hobbies, and I don't know, for me, like, I think I would have, you had asked about our moms or our parents, and just kind of like, right, without them, would we have gotten into this shit? And at least for me, I remember being in school, and I must have been in the 2nd grade or 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And I remember the gymnastic team coming out.
Yeah.
And doing their whole routine. And I was like, oh. Like, they're doing backflips and shit. And I was like...
It looked cool.
I was like, this is fucking cool. Like, what the fuck is this? I'd never seen anything like it in my whole life.
Yeah.
And that year they had started up a gymnastic program in our school. So right after they showed that whole thing, they're like, okay, now we're doing this gymnastic thing, whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'm fucking trying out for this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember that first year I didn't make the team.
Okay.
And I just remember being just like devastated, dude. Just fucking devastated. Just like, because it wasn't like I just, missed it by a long shot. Yeah. It's like I was fucking right there,
right, with
a lot of the kids, and I was just, God damn it, dude. Like, I was so I should have. I mean, it's not like I should have made it, but it was like I was right there.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this was like my first thing that I ever just got fucking fired up about. Like, I remember from that point, I was just like, well, I'm gonna get fucking good at this shit.
I'm gonna show them.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt, dude. I'm like, just this little fucking guy, like, just small as shit. And
yeah.
Just like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking learn this shit. Napoleon complex, like, up to here. And so my mom, she fucking gets me into these, like, classes.
Yeah,
in a legit
classes.
Gym where, like, I mean, 6 months down the road, I'm doing, like, I'm learning all this shit. Like, I'm learning the backflips and, you know all this shit that we were doing on the trampoline.
Well, I remember we would do backflips on the trampoline, but you were doing, like, back handsprings on the ground and shit, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's just, it's crazy. Like, that's just the same thing as anything else. Like, at first, you feel like a baby. You feel like you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
And then it's like over time, and as a kid, it's totally different because, you know, you don't have zero fear about anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just going to go fucking try a backflip and land on my head, which I did like 8 times. I remember I remember just fucking up my neck.
Yeah.
I was probably, you know, 4th grade or something.
Yeah.
And I'm in my backyard and I'm like, I think I could just do a straight backflip right now.
On the ground. Oh.
And I just do like half a backflip and straight
on your head.
Squared on my neck, dude. Just like, oh, God. I think I couldn't move that shit for a couple days, but
that's. I mean, I wish someone when I was a baby, I wish someone would have been like, try doing backflips now. It's gonna hurt a lot less than when you're like in 8th grade.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. I remember like trying to teach Zach how to do one, and he was already probably a sophomore.
Yeah.
In high school, and it's like by that point, your body's just not. You know.
Yeah, I was lucky when I learned because I was way older than you guys. And was it you that taught me or was it Sid?
It could have been either one.
One of you guys taught me, but you taught me by lying to me. I did this thing where I like landed on my face and then the rest of my body kind of came over and you're like, you did it, man, you did it. And I was like, yeah. And then I jumped and did another one, but it was a legit like backflip and you were Sid. You're just like, what? No, you didn't do it that time you really did it. You didn't do it last time.
Yeah, dude. I kind of remember that.
Oh, it was awesome because from then on I could do it. But
yeah.
I was so lanky. I couldn't figure out why when we would make movies, why Sid could jump in the air and do all these awesome maneuvers and look super cool. When I jumped in the air, I looked like a rag doll, just like legs and arms going everywhere. It was because he was like 9 years old. He was super physical at that age.
Yeah,
and so he could move easily. But then at that age, everything's different. You're not a full person yet.
Well, when you develop from a young age with those movements, it's like I think that's huge. I think that is huge when kids learn body movements at a young age.
Yeah,
it's like it's next level. I remember, you know, Sid would come up snowboarding with me.
Yeah,
and he would maybe ride a quarter of the time that I was riding.
Okay.
Overall within a season. But he just would go fucking huge.
Just didn't care.
Hit the train park and, you know, hit the waterfall jumps, which were probably, you know, 45 feet lip to knuckle.
Are those ones that lip you way up but then have a steep drop off on the other side?
Yeah, so they go up. And then they drop off at 90 degrees and then run over this way. And then the landings back here. So it's probably 45 feet from the lip to the knuckle. And I just remember Sid throwing a 3 off of it. And
he had so much control. It was insane.
He did.
And then I tried to do a jump once. And I probably only got 3 feet of air, but in my mind, I was in the air so long, I could have been like 12, 13 feet in the air. I wasn't. But I landed square on the top of the tabletop on my back, knocked the wind out of me, and I was like, fuck this. I'm not jumping anymore.
Yeah, those jumps are crazy. Those jumps they're kind of just like commit or get fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, there's no in between. You can't puss out on them.
Right.
Or you're going to get fucked up.
You're going to get hurt. You want to gently ride over it? I've done that. You can do that.
You can do that. You can try it.
But if you're going to go for air.
You ever dropped out of a story and a half straight to flat ground? Right. Feels really good.
You think it's powder so it won't hurt, but it hurts.
It's really ice and it sucks.
Oh.
Good times.
The grinding was the only thing that I actually pulled off successfully, and that's because all you had to do. And when I did a jump, I was on my edge. So apparently, when you do that, if you're gonna fuck up your air. with the tabletop grind rails things, you had to be flat. It was a flat surface. There was no option to be on your edge. So that's what it was. I think the one time I tried to do one of those things where you get on it and you just kind of slowly rotate, but I tried to rotate after I was on it, and my board just whoop, and I landed on top of it on my back. Like,
see, that's the problem with the rails, man. Oh, those suck.
You can hurt so many kidney shots.
I've done that too.
Yeah,
that hurts.
And
I don't like them. I don't like them.
After I fell on my back, the train park was always more of a dream. Like, if I could watch myself do it in a movie, that'd be more fun than actually doing it. I'm not good.
I got into it for like a year.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, there's enough powder days around here to like be good.
Yeah.
And
give me a run. Train parks, give me something I can like swoop through some trees and then do it again and then do it again. I'm fine with that.
And I can do way better tricks off like natural hits than on this pristine. I don't know what it is about like the groom stuff. It's almost too perfect. Like, it weirds me out. Like, it's psychologically just like, I can never hit it correctly. But if I'm hitting like a natural side hip or something, it's like it's choppy all the way up to it, and I just ride flat-footed up to the lip, and it just pops me up, and you do threes, you do fives, whatever else.
Whatever is happening at that time.
Yeah, and it's just like, you just feel it, and it's just like, it naturally comes to you. Where when you actually have to prepare, see, that's where the lizard brain shit comes in.
Yeah, okay,
because that's the reaction. Like, I love to just react.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is if I can just be split-second reactions, then I'm not thinking, it's just happening.
Yeah.
But if I'm building up to a perfect jump, a perfect scenario,
yeah,
I mentally think about it and I fuck it up, dude.
Dude, okay, I'm the exact same way with comedy.
Really?
Like, I had this joke because our washer dryer we got a new one, has this button on it where it doesn't matter if you're doing anything or not. If you bump it, it does this did, and I had put on a bunch of weight at the time, so every time I bumped it, all I heard was, "You are fat, big fat ass." I told my mom this in the moment, and she's laughing, and then my dad and my sister come home, and she's like, Tell him the washer dryer, and I did, and they're like, ha ha, yeah, that's funny. That's really, obviously trying harder than they should have been, but it's like, if I think about it, or if I'm like, okay, I did this, it's not gonna work. But if it's an in the moment thing, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's an in the moment thing, I'm way more likely to say something that's gonna make people laugh.
Yeah.
And,
well, anybody telling you to repeat something is always the first, like, your shit's about to go bad real quick.
Do the thing.
I've never heard anybody pull that off. Ever.
There was one time. We went to the escape room.
Okay.
And we're driving through Bellingham. We drive past the vision clinic. And I was like, what if the vision clinic made their signs blurry so more people came in? I said that on the road, and then we got home and I told my mom that. It got the same reaction. They thought it was hilarious. But obviously it doesn't work out every time.
But did somebody else tell you to say it?
No. It was just I saw it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. And it's when somebody points it out. When somebody says, hey,
tell them what you said.
Tell them what you said. And you're just like,
yeah, that's
fuck,
true.
What did I say? And then it's all fucked up.
Yeah. Then the first show I ever did, I've done like 6 stand-up shows. The first show I ever did got a really good reaction. And I hadn't practiced it, which should have been a sign, because the second show I did practice it, and it died. It told the same exact jokes, not a snicker, not a laugh, nothing. And I should have realized, maybe if I worked really hard at it, I could do stand-up comedy, but I think more likely something that I might do really well at is improv comedy. Just not Who's Line, obviously that's a dream, but a stand-up troupe or a show that's more Robin Williams-esque than a straight stand-up show, where I go up with concepts maybe, or I do pure crowd work, something like that.
Yeah.
But
nice. Do you ever think of, like, if you're bombing? I mean, do you think you were bombing during those times? Is that what you'd call that?
No. I think to call that bombing would insult a lot of comics that have bombed, where they get off stage and they're questioning whether or not they should go back on stage. I've never felt that. I've felt people in the audience not thinking my stuff is funny, but also realizing that it's an open mic night and you're probably not going to get funny comics up there every single time, so they let it go. But no, I'd have to do a lot more shows to feel that bombing sensation.
Yeah.
I feel it more.
You just wonder if during those times, if you threw I don't know, like you know how it is when you acknowledge the fact that people aren't resonating with what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
If you just had, like, planned stuff, but if that planned stuff didn't go to plan, then you had backup planned stuff to, like, but that was in contrast to that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I look at comics, and for the most part, the guys that are, in my mind, the best are the ones that can take a crowd that hates them and not have anything planned, but still win them over.
Right.
I don't know how you do it. I remember when we went to see Joey Diaz. Do you remember the guy that went up before him? He was telling some jokes, and he had a piece of paper out, so you kind of knew that they were a little bit newer jokes.
Okay.
And the first joke he told didn't get a laugh, and he kind of just, like, he let it go a little bit. The second joke he told, he backs up a little bit more to the back of the stage. The second joke he tells doesn't get a laugh, and he goes, "Okay, no more new jokes." Puts it back in his pocket and takes a step forward, and immediately the crowd laughs, and they're on his side. And he's telling some old jokes, and he was hilarious, but he immediately won the crowd over after telling two shitty jokes.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Is that something?
I think that there's a touch of being prepared, in the sense that, like, if there's got to be only a certain amount of heckles that you can get from an audience.
Okay.
Because it's usually drunk people that are doing it, so it's going to be something like, "You suck," "You're an idiot," "Move on, I'm sick of this joke," or "You're dumb," stuff like that. So it can't be that hard to sit around and be like, well, if someone calls me an idiot, then I'm going to say this. Or how many times have you been in a situation where you're like, oh, I should have said that, or I should have done this? Well, they're putting themselves back in that situation, and they're like, oh, now I get a chance to say this or do this.
Right.
And it's in the moment, so it's going to be passionate. The audience is going to kind of be on his side, because no one wants a heckler. Even if I think even if it's a shitty comic, just shut up and let them finish.
Right.
So,
I think most people feel that way.
But I think it's why most comics that come from Europe are just on point when it comes to hecklers. They'll come to America and they'll be funny, and then rarely there will be a heckler, and they will just destroy them, and it's hilarious, because in Europe it's kind of, what I've heard is it's kind of tradition, like comics go up on stage to get heckled. That's why the people are there. That's why they're there. They're going to tell jokes, and they're going to get heckled.
Really?
Yeah. So they're like, if they're not on point with that stuff, they're not going to make it as a comic.
No shit. So everybody's just like fucking on it.
Yeah. You got Eddie Izzard, Jim Carr, Simon Pegg. I've seen some of his stuff, and he's really witty with those comebacks.
Okay.
But yeah. And here it's like we got open mic nights all over the place. And like I said, if you're not funny, everybody realizes that you're a new comic and just gives you a pass. That wouldn't happen in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
That's cool.
But yeah.
That's very cool.
What were we talking about before that?
It must have slipped my brain between all this weed.
Did you see the new Avengers movie?
No.
Infinity War?
Was it good?
It's one of my favorite Avengers movies.
Really?
Because of the way they ended it.
Okay.
It's just a bunch of superheroes died. Yeah. And then they ended it, and I expected them to be like something returns Infinity Wars 2.
Right.
They never said anything, which I thought was hilarious. Because I know Infinity Wars 2 is coming out.
Okay.
But I imagine that there's a lot of people out there that are watching this, and they're seeing all their favorite superheroes die, and they're like, this is it? They don't know there's a second one coming out. They just think that's it.
Oh.
The series. That's beautiful to me because it changes the movie. It makes it a real movie. And not... I like the Marvel movies, but it makes it like, there's actual loss? We can lose them?
So wait, are they actually dead, or are they going to come back?
They're
going to come back, aren't they?
My brother has more information on it than I do, but he makes it sound like they're...
What do you mean he has more information on it?
Like, he researches it. He goes online and he's like...
And he won't give you the details?
Well, he tells me, but I don't want to say it like it's real because I'm going to skew it a little bit. I don't have the original.
I gotcha.
But he says that the idea is that one of the heroes that didn't die is going to go back in time somehow and do something.
Bring them all back?
Yeah. So
yeah.
in the movie...
Figures, because it's Marvel.
Well,
and everybody's got to win.
Right. But it was...
Give them trophies at the end of the movie.
It was kind of set up because Doctor Strange can look into the future.
Okay.
Or he can see the future.
Yeah.
And he was in charge of the futures of the Time Stone. And he said that he would never let anyone take it from him. And then in the movie, he ends up giving it to Thanos because to save someone's life. And in my mind, that was completely out of character. The Doctor Strange isn't a kind-hearted person. He's a very cold person. That's why he was picked to guard the stone, because they knew he would sacrifice people he loved for that. And I was like, why would he give that to him? Which is a huge clue. Okay, so I'm not even talking about stuff that's really going to happen. I'm talking about hypothesis for this. It's a huge changing point, because if he's willing to do that, it means that either he's gone soft and in a bad way that wouldn't reflect Doctor Strange, or he's seen something that's going to happen and knows that the only way to get to that point is by giving the stone to the bad guy.
Oh.
Which is, I don't know, that's a huge clue. Like, oh, okay, so they're not really dead because Doctor Strange is smart and has time powers. I don't know.
He does have time powers?
Well, the stone allows him to like move time back and forth in small spots.
Okay.
But then he can also see the future.
Dude, so you just came up with this?
When I watched him give the stone to him, I was like, that's out of character. And then later it was just kind of festering, and
yeah,
like that's the only reason I could see why he would give up the stone, is because he knows. He's the only one that knows.
Yeah, I need to start getting back into the movie game, dude. I've been slacking big time.
If I can give you some... watch Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
One of the best Thor movies. I'm not even a big fan of Thor.
Yeah.
His movies, but...
I know, you just say that, and I'm just like, oh, Thor?
Okay, don't think of it as a Thor movie. Think of it as a Hulk movie.
Okay.
A Hulk movie that has Thor in it more than Hulk, and has a lot of really awesome, classic rock music in it. I think the theme song for that movie is that
oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah, it's sick. It was directed by Taika Waititi. I think I might be saying his name wrong, but he's a New Zealander who is hilarious. And he makes the movie one of the funniest Marvel movies I've ever seen.
Really?
Jeff Goldblum. Oh, frick, I can't. There's Jeff Goldblum is the main bad guy in it, and he's awesome.
That's sweet.
That's all you need to know.
Dude, I've been been getting into the latest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Who's in that?
Larry David. You ever seen that show?
Mm-mm.
Dude.
Is it good?
Oh my god. As far as improv, the show is improv.
Oh.
So they set up scenes.
Okay.
And then the dialogue in between the scenes are just like off the cuff.
Yeah.
But it's basically Larry David, who's the creator of Seinfeld.
Every time people say Larry David, I think of basketball player.
Okay.
He was a basketball player, right?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Shit.
The Bird.
The Bird.
No, but yeah, Larry David's a much different person than Larry Bird.
Oops.
Oh, man. Yeah, but it is maybe one of the funniest shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's just like the humor in it it's dry. It's just like totally
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
He's a provocateur, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he gets into situations with people, like he brings things up that most people would just like, you know, things that happen within life that almost everyone just lets slide.
Yeah.
He'll bring it up to a specific person. And then somehow within that episode, him and that person will get connected in some other way where he needs something from like their boss or something. So then it's a whole nother situation on top of it. But
Holy
the whole
shit.
time it's just improv, and it's
Yeah.
so funny, dude.
I love
It's
improv.
single point camera, so like the
Okay.
production of it is super shitty.
Oh, so do they edit it, or is it just kind of like free form, kind of
Just
go
like
with it?
chopped up, like it reminds me of God, what's that show on Netflix? Trailer Park Boys.
Oh my gosh!
Like
I
just the
love
way
show.
that shot,
Yeah,
just chopped up, maybe a song in
really
between.
shitty quality, but and it doesn't even seem like they have a story, but somehow they pull it off, and it's
Yeah,
awesome.
dude, that's what it's like. But it's just
Yeah,
it's Larry David, so he's like fucking worth $500 million.
yeah. No, and I looked him up. He's funny.
Oh yeah.
He's not like someone that I've followed a lot, but he's definitely someone that I've noticed when he's in stuff. It's just hilarious.
If you ever have an opportunity to get HBO, or if you have it, you should definitely watch it.
I've been downloading stuff lately just because, like, I downloaded all of South Park, which it might seem illegal, but I've already bought them. I just didn't want to put DVDs in anymore. I wanted to be able to watch all of them without getting up every 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm lazy, whatever. But I paid.
Dude, it's convenience, man.
I paid for them and I downloaded them digitally through alternate sources.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but have you ever seen? You know Eric Andre?
No.
I mean, I know his name because he's loud, but I never really thought of him. He didn't seem hilarious. But the Eric Andre show on Adult Swim is one of the best talk shows I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, and only because like the stuff he does is amazing, but he self-proclaims that his goal on the show is to make his guest feel as uncomfortable as possible. And it's so good. Some people roll with it, and then he just takes it super, like, I swear he destroys his little desk that he sits at to talk to him. He destroys it every episode at some point. And then by the time they come back from a commercial break, he's got a new one sitting there. But it's so good. There was there was one where he's kind of talking to her, and he doesn't interview well. He's just kind of like he'll be zoning out, and then we're live. So you were in this movie, and that's how he interviews.
God.
But then there's one point where he's interviewing someone, and and he's like, bring him out, and 3 people come out, and he's like, pick one to the guest, and the guest points at the guy in the middle, and Eric Andre pulls out a gun, shoots the guy in the middle. Oh, it was the best. It was the best because Hannibal Buress is there, and he's Hannibal. You know who that is?
Oh yeah.
He's just himself, kind of like he stands kind of behind the guy while he's being interviewed, but he's chill the entire time. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Dude, I think Hannibal's one of my favorite comedians out there right now.
Yeah. I can't get enough of him. Every time I see him in something or I hear about something. The Little Dicky thing,
Oh my god, the Little Dicky thing is so fucking funny, dude.
And then he has a bit about it on stage where he's like, "Why you making me call a grown man Little Dicky?" Oh
yeah, he's really good.
Seriously,
he's really good.
And he was just in something that I watched. Why can't I think of what it was? It might have been like Workaholics or something.
Okay.
But he just played like a coach that didn't really give a shit about anything.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
No, he's funny. Is that Eric guy?
Eric Andre?
Yeah. Who is that?
He's like, I want to say he's black, but I know he's not full black. He's probably got something else in him. But he's got like this just like really crazy... I want to say afro, but it's like almost spiked.
Okay.
And it doesn't look like it's on purpose. But huge nose. I mean, he doesn't seem like he would be hilarious all the time, but he doesn't seem like an asshole either. I could just look him up.
Is he in anything else?
I've only ever seen him in talk shows or podcasts and some comedy, a group, like when they have a group of comics. But here we go. Eric Andre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He is hard to describe.
Yeah. But that's the one on the far left is him on the Eric Andre show.
Okay.
That's how he had his hair for a season.
Yeah.
And probably one of the best talk shows I've ever seen.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just takes it wherever he wants to, and it's beautiful.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
For sure. Well, I'm going to call the podcast here. Yeah, got anything you want to plug? Yeah.
Got my Instagram at MattKinkel24.
Check it out. You want to tweet at somebody? Tweet at Donald Trump, because you can.
No doubt.
No doubt. All right.